Team being Citizen of Gotham, Thursday, June 11th, 2015. Thanks for stopping by and tuning in. Activist Post Friday vote. Meaning this Friday, Congress rushing the TPP through, even though they know Americans will lose jobs. Well, of course, Melissa Dykes wrote this. Usually, most of her articles, from what I've read, from what I remember and read, are usually pretty good, or good. There's nothing free about free trade, rather. The only reason Congress is holding out until Friday to vote on the TPP, according to Politico, is that they're trying to resolve a last-minute hang-up over aid workers for who lose their jobs to free trade. I also heard that it has to do with net neutrality as well. I think Matty D covered that as well, if I'm not mistaken. Was it him? I think he might have mentioned it as well because he was talking about this. If it wasn't him, it might have been Freedom Fighter 2127. Well, anyway, shout-outs to Matty D for Truth and Freedom Fighter 2127. Regardless, they cover the same stuff I do. We all cover the same things, and they both do excellent work. So if I'm wrong, I know one of them did, or both of them did. Nonetheless, shout-outs for their work. House leaders confident but not yet certain they have the support to pass sweeping trade legislations are aiming to bring the package to a floor vote by the end of this week, even as they rush to resolve a last-minute hang-up over how to pay for aid to displaced workers. A vote to grant President Barack Obama, otherwise known as Akhenaten, fast-track authority to negotiate a massive Pacific Rim trade deal will be extremely tight by all accounts. Senior aides and lawmakers in GOP leadership are intent on scheduling the vote at the moment they believe they have the votes locked up, ideally by Friday, to spare supportive lawmakers the possibility of another weekend of attacks by trade foes back in their districts. We're doing very well. We're close. Ways and Means Chairman Paul Ryan, Republican Wisconsin, who have been at the forefront of the GOP efforts to round up support, said Tuesday of the current vote count. If Republicans want to bring the trade legislation to the floor Friday, they must decide Wednesday. If I didn't mention it when I was mentioning them, I think I talked about net neutrality. Maybe I didn't mention that. That's what I was trying to bring up, Freedom Fighter 2127 or Matty D or both. They're supposed to, I think, also pass net neutrality. I thought it was already passed, so I guess they're either about to pass it or they're going to put it into effect. I guess they're passing it. For some reason, I thought it was already passed, and they were just waiting to, as the proverbial drop the hammer when shit hits the fan, so to speak, for them to really enact it. But I think it has something to do with that on Friday as well. So it's like a double whammy, like the Fockers, double dose. This means Congress is well aware a lot of people are about to lose their job once the TPP that none of us have even gotten to read goes through. They should be. Secret negotiations for this thing have only been underway now for 6 years. NAFTA on steroids doesn't even really begin to cover what we do know of the TPP. It's not like any previous trade agreement we've ever seen. Where should we begin? The fact that it's going to make Obamacare look like a happy, fun time stroll down a sunny lane, or the fact that it's basically facilitating U.S. merger with China. Bye-bye national sovereignty. Hello TPP. So that's the thing. They keep trying to pretend, like I've said in all these videos many times, that this concept that we're against China and Russia and Germany and everyone, we hate everyone, or everyone's our enemy and the boogeyman. That's not true. They're all these governments are in cahoots with one another. It's like I've said, it's like wrestling. You have your baby faces and heels. They stand there and they mock us by pretending to hate each other, blah, blah, blah. They say bad things, then they go out and they laugh their asses all the way to the bank. Both sides are being funded, Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, whatever you want to call it. Those are all involved in it, actually. And that's the way it works. So this concept now, USA and China's going to merge. They were just talking about a week ago how USA wanted to fight China, and if we fight China, Russia's going to jump in. They were just talking about that. So it's all this fear mongering, malarkey, mendacities to get everyone shitting in their pants. It's just sick, and it has to stop. For starters, here are 10 reasons why you should pose it straight out of the gate. It's not like the economy and job markets don't already suck as it is these days. Food services is one of the fastest growing job markets in this country. Enough people have been mumbling under their breath about how robots are about to take a lot of jobs that Google CEO Eric Schmidt specifically felt the need to respond to this unfounded fear at Davos earlier this year. Now these crony idiots in Congress are about to completely sell us out so the middle class isn't just dead, it's dead, and they're gleefully kicking the carcass around. Of course they are. Of course, if it were the Dems in charge, it wouldn't be any different either. That's right, because the Dems, the Republicans, are the same thing. It's the lesser of two evils, so to speak. They are playing roles. They do not hate each other. They're all into their satanic, pedophilic tendencies, I guess just tendencies, you know, or whatever you want to call it, satanic, ritualistic, pedophilic. What would be the word? I'm just struggling on the word. But anyway, tendencies. You know, that's a good word, but I wanted a better word than that. So they're all playing the cards out. They're all bullshitting, and everyone thinks there's a difference between these two parties, and they're not. They pretend there's a difference, but there's no difference. They're both getting what they want because they're all part of the same thing. To us, we think they're different and they're separate, but they're not. That's the psyop that they put forth, and they're all on it. They're all in on it, just like I said. Even libertarian light filibuster things that won't change anything. Rand, who last year gave a speech talking about how Obama should prioritize the TPP by the year's end. Rand Paul supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Deal. Well, he's an idiot for supporting anyone who supports this. Is an idiot. It's going to be the death of sovereignty and free will. That'll be killed completely. Not that we use it a lot, but sovereignty will be gone, and it's going to be sold out to other countries. And people think the world's messed up now, right? Wait and see. But I'm fear-mongering. Fear-mongering, right? This Friday just wasn't near fast enough for Rand, but all shucks, I guess it'll have to do. Even after writing about that video before, by the way, people still couldn't believe it and found ways to make excuses for it, as if either he didn't say what they just saw and heard him say, or he must have had a very good reason for doing so. And that's because he's a sellout. Yes, he did have a good reason. He's a sold-out show. Exactly. It's pretty simple. The corporations running the government, we all pretend we still are attempting to enslave us all. The people are no longer represented by anyone in our so-called government, unless you can count corporations as people too, such as my friend, the way Mitt Romney does. Right. Anyway, I added such as, but anyway. Craziness, so once this goes through, it's not going to be good. I guess we'll see. It's basically just giving foreign corporations, foreign countries, which will have foreign corporations and be represented by them, will just be able to do what they want. It also helps with automation, because now all these jobs, they're going to eliminate jobs of people by having computers do it, robots do it, whatever you want to call it, AI, and that will mean more people will be out of jobs. And then what they'll do is they'll push forth, meaning when I say they, I mean the government, they'll push forth that, well, if you want this and you want that, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to be chipped, you're going to have to, you know, sing the praises of, you know, the Fourth Reich or whatever they want, you're going to have to get this and that and do this and that, and then we'll give you that. So it's just going to be complete enslavement. I guess the stronger people who have temerity will take a bullet in the head rather than be enslaved, which is probably the better choice, even though that sounds evil. It's not. Who wants to be a slave, right? Anyway, stay well, be balanced. Namaste.